Hey everybody, this is Zombie with Zombie Tactical Training, and today I've got a officer-involved shooting video for you out of Virginia. This involves a suspect firing on officers and officers returning fire. Today we're going to talk about why two-handed shooting is king. We're going to talk about what bullets do when they pass through glass. And we're going to talk about when is the appropriate time to stop shooting in a gunfight. So let's take a look at the video here.
Drop the gun! 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 Hands out!
Drop the gun! Get out of here!
Watch for the other guy.
Where'd he go?
Keep your hands out. Keep your hands out.
Alright, check where'd the gun go.
Right here. You hold it. You hold
Check
it.
him. Let's go ahead and make sure we can get first aid, man. Where you hit at, partner? Can you talk?
In my back.
And your back.
Okay.
Alright. Anywhere else?
Alright, we'll go ahead and stop the video here. The officers do provide first aid to the suspect, call for medics obviously, and the suspect did not survive this shooting. He did pass away. But excellent job by these officers. I think they did a really good job protecting themselves and their community. And let's break down what happened in that gunfight. Alright, so we're going to pick up the video here. The officer's chasing the suspect down through this looks like a kind of apartment building thing. And you're going to see when he comes around this corner, the suspect did fire 4 rounds at the officers. The officers, 2 of them that I saw in here, fired 10 rounds and scored 3 hits. So they had a 30% hit rate, and you'll see partially why here. Right now he's being fired on. There's the suspect. You can see smoke coming from his firearm right there. Now the officer's shooting with his gun, and he's basically doing what is known as point shooting, where he's just kind of aiming in that direction and firing. I can't imagine he's getting a very good sight picture. Now right here he's going to put 2 hands on the gun, and he's going to start scoring some good hits. Now watch. Boom, 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 boom. He's getting good hits right there, and the suspect goes down. Now you're going to see a bullet zip right through that car window. Keep watching. Boom, look at that. And the way that that glass is blowing out and to the left leads me to believe that's from that officer's partner out there on the right hand side. I'm not sure why he fired right there. My guess is he wanted to fire a little bit earlier, but there's a bit of a disconnect between when your brain says fire and when your finger actually pulls the trigger. Um, Basically, I mean, you don't want to shoot through glass if you can avoid it, because glass does all kinds of weird things to bullets. It'll make them bounce up, go down. They do all kinds of weird things, especially automobile glass. So try to avoid that if at all possible. Um, for law enforcement and even self-defenders, sometimes that's just not possible. But it's something you need to be aware of, that when you do that, your bullet's going to pretty much go wherever. And you are going to be held accountable for every gun or every bullet that you fire, whether you be a police officer or a self-defender. Now, going with the two-handed shooting, I mean, you always shoot best when you have 2 hands on the gun. Now, everybody, when you're an advanced shooter and you're doing, or even intermediate shooter, I would suggest that you learn to shoot one-handed with both your right hand and your left hand. In case you're in a gunfight where your left or right arm's disabled, or for whatever the reason, you may have to shoot with one hand. But when you're shooting with 2 hands, your accuracy is way better because you have a much more stable firing platform for your firearm. So, that of course is going to increase the likelihood of a hit. So it's very important, for law enforcement, and also to learn that if you got a radio, I know police officers cannot just drop their radios and things like that, but you need to have your duty belt set up in such a way that your radio's hanging. You have some sort of relatively hands-free device. I mean, there's all kinds of things nowadays, where you can have the little earbuds and all that kind of stuff that won't, get in your way. You want to have both your hands ready to, go to battle if you have to, either put hands on a suspect or um, draw your weapon. Now, with self defenders, same thing. If you've got something in your left hand and it's time to go to work, you're being attacked or whatever, you're going to have to drop that. Drop your cell phone, whatever, and get both hands on that gun because you don't want to be firing rounds that are going, who knows where and could kill or injure innocent people. That's a no-no, and like I said, you will be held accountable for that under the law. So let's talk about when do you stop shooting? These officers did a good job of, especially the body cam video officer that we watched this through. He did an excellent job of stop shooting when the threat is down. He kept firing until he saw the threat go down and prone out like this. And then they moved up slowly, made sure they got control of the firearm. They did a great job. Applied first aid, did all the right things. I do have a little bit of beef, which I believe is this officer here who's on the suspect's holding his left wrist right now. I believe that officer fired that round that went through those car windows. Um, I do think he fired a little late, but I think that was more because of the disconnect, like I said, between his brain saying, okay, shoot, and when his finger actually pulled on that trigger. Um, my guess was he was probably not really paying attention to what his backdrop was, quite obviously, because he fired right through a window. That bullet could have gone straight up. It could have gone, through another window, God forbid, and hit somebody innocent in one of these apartments or something. So don't do that, whether you're a law enforcement officer or a self defender, unless it's absolutely necessary. And it's, for law enforcement, sometimes it is necessary, but for self defenders, it's really not something that you're going to have to do a lot, or at least that in my experience, I've seen a lot of. Um, but there's always, there's always the one, exception to the rule. So where somebody didn't have a choice. But in this instance, I think that the officers did have a bit of a choice. But overall, I think they did a great job. I think they protected the community. You could see in this how the point shooting, like I said, the officers fired 10 rounds and got 3 hits, 30% hit rate. And I would suspect the officer that we saw, whose body camera we were watching, got no hits when he was firing with one hand around that corner. But as soon as he got two hands on his weapon and started firing, he put the suspect down, and like I said, the suspect did not survive this. But overall, these officers did a great job, and Zombie salutes them.